Ready, boys?
Yep.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Celtic Unrestricted View podcast. My name is Ryan Clifford, and it's a sunny day in Glasgow. It's a Sunday special with Jason and JP. Well, lads, a lot to speak about since we've last come on. Obviously, we interviewed Barry Bannon. Great feedback, great interview from him. That's fantastic to speak to him, getting all his career. Hope the fans who listened to it enjoyed it as well. But again, back to Celtic. A lot's come out the last few weeks, JP, and more so the last day or two about transfers, and links are getting a bit heavier. And obviously, Barkas left. There's talk about Jullien, Jota. I think we all know the names now, mate. But I think it's interesting now that there's pace gathering. And I think there's another thing we can highlight, I think, mate, is obviously the speed of the transfers. I think we'll go into. Some fans are getting nervy, and again, I don't think they should be, but we can understand why. But we'll go into the podcast. But how's things, JP, and how's sunshine been, mate, in Glasgow for a wee change?
Good evening, mate. Yes, sunny day for a Sunday. Fantastic. Good evening, lads. I hope you've had a nice weekend. Father's Day as well, so I've had a great day with my kids today. Just been sort of chilling out in our back garden and stuff, so it's been pretty good. Yeah, Celtic's never a dull moment, mate. So there's always a story, and none more recent than this Jota saga. It seems to be kind of giving me grey hair as we speak, because it's kind of, I've been here for January. It's a done deal. It's this, it's that, and it's for whatever reason. But I'll tell you what, the wee man's got some social life, eh? That's about 7 holidays he's been. The season only finished about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So, he's certainly getting used to his passport, that's for sure. There's that. He's been now. I beef with the boys. He's been over on the yacht. I think somebody was saying he was in Cyprus as well. And now he's over at Mexico. I think they're getting paid too much, Ryan. I think we're in the wrong job, mate. No, as I say, I think personally, we've seen him kick about on holiday. We mentioned it the other night when we were with Barry Bannon, which was a great podcast, a great listen, great to have a chat with him. Such a brilliant guy. Heart of gold, I think, definitely. And as I say, we touched on that the other night with Jota, in terms of if he was in any hurry to escape for Celtic, right, he wouldn't be running about New York or wherever it was he was, running about the Celtic taps on. Getting photos with Celtic fans. So, as I said, I think personally it's a case of when and no if with him. Obviously, we've had 2 signings as well. Let's not forget we've signed Maeda permanently as well now, and we've now got Carter Vickers. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but it's kind of starting to, it's becoming silly season, I think, now, right? In terms of the amount of players we're kind of being linked to now. You don't really know what's right, what's wrong, and what's no, and what's still to happen. So I think it's more apprehension, and because I think fans are worried because we're getting into the Champions League, so they're wanting to see a better product getting brought in terms of quality, no numbers, because in certain positions I think we definitely need upgrades to go into the Champions League and play against that level of opposition, which I still think overall we're still going to be a way off it. I think the Champions League's maybe a step too far for us now. That's not to say that we're not going to enjoy the journey and we're actually there, and by all means we're going to love every bit of it, because we're in the we're in the group stages. We're not back in for qualifiers, and I think that's where the apprehension's coming from as well. We're used to seeing us back in for qualifiers, and we're probably running about to start pre-season at this moment in time, whereas now we've got a wee extended break and we're not back in for another week or so. So I think fans are just chomping at a bit, and I think, like myself, a lot of fans are just missing watching us now, because we've been away for weeks now. So yeah, I can see where everybody's coming from, to be honest.
No, I agree, mate. And happy Father's Day to all the Celtic dads out there. A lot of Celtic dads get a lot of critics, but it's your day-to-day, boys. So, but no, I agree, mate. Obviously, I think you've touched on. We can touch on in the podcast because it's quite a few things I think a lot of fans are speaking about. So mainly social media. I think Twitter's the main stream now for a lot of obvious information and a lot of fans talking about how's things, Jason. And I think what JP touched on there, mate, it's kind of relevant to what we're going to talk about tonight and relevant to basically follow the fan base at the moment.
All right, guys. Happy Father's Day to you all. I think a lot of people, including myself, a bit apprehensive with what's happening. I thought sort of once we had announced Carter Vickers that they were all going to slowly just roll on, but we're still sitting here. And I think that signing's just sort of slipped under the radar, and people are actually forgetting that we've signed a quality player there. But I do agree that I think we need to strengthen more, especially in the left back position. Not that I think Greg Taylor had a really, really good season last year, but is he up to Championship quality? I don't know. I don't know if he is. I think we still need another striker, and we need to get a wee bit tougher in the middle of the park, I think. So there's still a lot of positions that we need to get filled, but I do trust that I think they will get it done. I think, as JP said, because we're used to be back into pre-season training and all that, they know they're having the extended holiday. But somebody should go on the phone to Jota and tell him to get back in Glasgow so we can get it sorted.
For me, I think, again, I can only go by maybe what I've seen, and you hear bits and bobs, but for me, I think the Jota deal's been done since January. I think it's been done. People are obviously going by, like JP says and you've says, why is it not getting done? And you're thinking, but it's only June, remember? It's just opened last week, roughly 10 days ago, the McDonald Day. People need to realise as well, we all know, obviously, because we spoke to William. I'll give William a plug as well. William's obviously been a former agent. He was on the podcast and he's told us exactly how transfers work. And since we spoke to him, we've understood that a lot more than me personally. I think the guys who were involved in the group chat and that have also heard a lot more about the transfers. And I'm relaxed on the situation. On every one it's linked, Seagrass, the Argentina left back, Jota, everything that's been linked. I'm relaxed as I believe that if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. There's no much we can do as fans. We can only do so much, and that's like get information and see which. So, but on Jota's IP, I do believe, just my opinion, I think the deal's done. I think it's been done since January at least, because I think by January we knew how good he was. I know he had it's just how, for me, it's how fickle and quick football can change. No, for me, my opinion, and the guys in the podcast chat and yourselves here tonight, you've never once says Jota's no good enough or Jota's shite or whatever Jota's this, but he has 2 or 3 bad games at Celtic, and us Celtic fans were thinking, right, he's finished, he shouldn't be playing. And I've said for day one since the start of the season, wingers are so inconsistent. Wingers don't play well every single game. James Forrest is probably the pinnacle of that. He has 3 good games in a row, and for 6 games he's missing, but he still contributes in a way that you don't actually realise. I know I'm a big critic of Forrest. I don't think he deserves a new deal, but in terms of Jota, he might know do something that you think, fuck's sake, he scored a goal or he's done this, but it's wee bits he's play. For me, JP, the guys, I'm not going to say he's anywhere near Lubo or stuff like that, guys like that, but he is a maverick. He's caviar, in my opinion, and for the money that we're supposedly agreed to, I think €6.5, €7 million. In this day and age, it's an absolute bargain. You've just seen Liverpool signing Ramsey for just about the same amount of money, including add-ons. And I like to think, I know he's a different player in position, but if it comes to value, JP, I like to say in value terms, we've got a massive value if Jota comes.
Absolutely, mate. He's absolutely tremendous. Any Celtic fan at all who questions his ability due to having 2 to 3, maybe even 4 off games, I would say that football's not for you if that's the case. Definitely. Because if you've not watched Jota properly and you've not saw what we've saw or what other people see, then I don't know what else Jota needs to do. I think what really just he does a couple of wee things during the season. Like his goal against Ferencváros, where he cuts inside, and the boy actually nearly done. See the boy he skinned, he nearly done his splits. The boy thought he was going the other way, and he does. And then there was one, and we've spoke about it, Ryan, where he tied Frimpong and the big centre back for Leverkusen, and we get beat 4-0 that night at Celtic Park, and he's running round people like they on the air. He tied Frimpong and that big centre back, and watched the two of them run into each other, and nearly ended up with concussion. The two of them were lying in a heap, and the wee man ran by the two of them with the ball. We actually nearly scored off the back of that. Then his goal against them there in the last derby, just his whole reading of the game, everything just tremendous, totally different level. There was one and all. I think it's Big Carter Vickers that actually switches play. It's about 60-70 yard pass, and the ball's up in the air, and Jota's watching the ball. Tavernier's running along the side of him, and he just kills it deep, and Tavernier runs by him like Forrest Gump's running out the park. And he just stops deep, and Tavernier runs and slides. I'm looking at Tavernier going, what are you doing? Who are you tackling? The corner flag? Jota's there, like behind you. But Jota's that good, he's killed the ball deep. Tavernier's continued on. He's different class. I've noticed as well, Ryan, see if he can't get by you, he'll try it again, but he'll try it a different way. He's got a bag of tricks to him as well, mate, and he's massive for the way we want to play. It's imperative that we do have the deal done. And I'm a firm believer like yourself that the deal is done, and it's just a case of we're waiting on maybe his passport running out or something like that, so he can't keep travelling so that he can get back and be announced as a permanent Celtic player. But no, I do agree in terms of in certain upgrades as well as what Jason alluded to there. In terms of left backs as well, I think we don't only need cover, but I'm at a stage now, I'm worried if something happens to Greg Taylor. Do you know Taylor's played that well that see when he got injured against them at Ibrox and he had to come off? Was it Ibrox or was it a game in the Cup? No, it was Ibrox. Remember, he had to come off at Ibrox in the 2-1 game. I was like, what are we going to do? See if he's injured like long term, where do we go? You're actually at a stage now where he's played that well that you're actually thinking like that now. It's the same with Ralston. Ralston, if he gets injured, you're like that. We've only got Juranovic. If something else happens to him, then you're snookered. But see that one you said there as well, Ryan, with Calvin Ramsey. You're better with Gordon Ramsay. I'm telling you, Liverpool, I don't know what Liverpool have done there in terms of the boys had half a good season in an Aberdeen first team. Fair dues and fair play to Aberdeen for, no accepting anything less than, pushing for a deal. And I heard a daft thing last week about Aberdeen wanting 10 million. 10 million. You know what I mean? Behave yourself. You're never getting 10 million for a boy that's 18-year-old and he's not even been tech. This is the thing I know, right? This is where we've went to. The boy's never played in Europe. He's never played at international level. But they wanted £10 million from him. How can you justify that? You could say that was different. Well, people are going to go like that. Well, what about Tierney? Tierney played in the Champions League and he was a first team regular for 3-4 seasons before Celtic sold him on. So he'd won trophies, he'd won medals. I don't even think the boy Ramsey's won maybe man of the match once or twice. And that was at 5 or 6 in the Aberdeen training ground. You know what I mean? So I can't understand for the life of me how Aberdeen have pulled that off. Fair play to them, but I don't think Trent Alexander-Arnold is looking over his shoulder and quaking in his boots, that's for sure.
I think on the Ramsey thing, mate, for me, Jason, obviously, you can say about Jota as well, mate, but I think on the Ramsey situation, I think they maybe just took a punt on him for potential. Maybe they buy, I know you don't want to talk about Rangers players, but I do believe Nathan Patterson is decent. I think he will he will eventually be Everton's right back. I think the boy's got a talent, but just the deal they got, Rangers, was based on Everton paying for potential, not on his talent right now. His potential to go forward. I think that's maybe the same with Ramsey, Jason. JP says.
Must be something about the name Ramsey. It goes for big money and they're all duds.
Aaron Ramsey. But aye, Jason, I think the JP says, I think he's right in the sense that fair play to Aberdeen for holding out in big money, because even Celtic, we seem to get robbed. Like even the money for like guys like Ayer, I still think we get robbed for that. Edward, I know he was in last year's deal. I know he's not done really well, but I think eventually he will be decent. A better team, maybe it suits him. At the time, we could get a lot more money for him than we did. Just transfers, I think Aberdeen have sold him at peak level. When the iron's hot, they've sold him. And sometimes we lack that. We sell players when it's maybe like the Jullien situation, maybe the last year's contract, or he's dipped in form. They've sold him when he's hot. And they've, like JP says, they've probably robbed Liverpool out of 6.5 million. So I think the boy might do better down there. But is he going to be playing under 23s every week, or is he going to be sitting on the bench and no kicking a ball? Aye, he's going to be better players. But training only gets you so far. As we've all played football, you can train with the best of players, but if you're not playing, your development's not going to get that far. But I agree with the value situation. The market's, excuse my French, but the market's fucked.
It is. The football. When Mbappe got his deal, I was just like, football's gone. 6.5 million at Liverpool's, that's just loose change to them. Do you know what I mean? That's I personally don't think that he's worth that much. If he's worth that, then what's Lewis Ferguson worth? Lewis Ferguson's been up, stayed out of the Wild. He's a regular in there. He's an international footballer. So, as JP said, it's, you know, it's he's not a good full season, to be honest with you. But
I think it kind of has a different feel to it, Jace, as well. Sorry to interrupt you, mate. For that, to the Ben Doak deal that Liverpool have just done, it kind of throws up a kind of feeling that he is going to be part of Klopp's first team and set up there. Whereas Ben Doak's, I think they're going to be lucky if he plays 5 or 6 with under 14s for the next 2 years. Do you know what I mean? He's just been in a hurry to get to, because Liverpool have offered him more money and probably an extra controller for his PS4 or whatever. You know what I mean? But
well, how many players have you seen that's went down? They've had maybe a good 6 months and they've went down to the big clubs and they've not done it. I can name 2 right now: Jamie Ness and Liam Miller. Jamie Ness plays for Stenhousemuir.
I know.
And Liam Miller ended up at Hibs. God love him. But I just...
Liam Miller, was it Celtic, you mean?
Aye.
Went to Man U, didn't he?
Aye. But when did he? But he never done it. Because he had that one good game against Lyon in the Champions League.
Oh no, he had a belter against. Remember, did they not score a beauty against Anderlecht as well? In fact, I think Vincent Kompany played in that Anderlecht team. It was great.
Aye, he did. Right, my apologies.
But did they not get a bad injury for Man United as well?
I think he did play, like Jason says, but I think I get what Jason's meaning. Some guys...
he fell away. No, he did fall away. He fell away quite quickly.
We can even look like guys like Rangers, like Greg Wild. He's played for Rangers and he went down and he's just playing with Bolton.
He's at Dumbarton.
You know what I mean? It's...
Aye. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Aye.
The careers took a nosedive because you've jumped for financial reasons and no footballing reasons.
Personally, me, if I was at Ramsey, I would have stayed at Aberdeen for another 2 seasons. Then he can go like that to Aberdeen, Liverpool. Well, I've made 250 appearances for Aberdeen, so I've sort of proved myself.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, if he's doing there and he's not doing it within 2 or 3 years, they'll just be like that, cut him loose.
How many years did they sign with him for?
I've not seen the deal, mate. I just know it was 6.5. But here's a
thing. It's going to be about 5 or 6, isn't it?
Here's a thing I'll put to you, Jason. I was going to say there. Do you think the boy Ramsey's maybe looked at the way Goodwin's going to play and the way Goodwin's come in and went, fuck this, I'm off? Yeah. Because it looks like Jason, he's basically Andy Considine. He basically forced Andy Considine out. He basically forced Scott Brown out. He's forced a few other guys out. So maybe this hard mentality, Goodwin, somebody plays out. Obviously, no Scott Brown. He was coming in his career anyway. But everybody Ramsey's went, fuck this guy. He's wild. I'm off. Again, I don't know Aberdeen. I'm just going by what it could be because supposedly Goodwin has meant to be. He's come in and he went, fuck this. The recruitment shite. I need to get this sorted. And maybe some of the boys are going, no, fuck this. I'm want to go back to getting pampered again. But I agree with you, Jason. I think some of these players need to. It's no just a bit of money now. Obviously,
I think some of the players need to get a fucking reality check. To be honest with you.
I've heard about Scott Brown. I don't know if it's true, but I was told that Brown went because Goodwin told him that Goodwin knew he was part of the other management staff. So that was, and he says, you're not part of my plans. So that's why he let him go.
He should have went with Glass. He should have went.
I know, but I think it was because, I think what happened, Jace, as well, I think he was still registered as a player, mate. So see, because he was still on the playing staff as well as he was a player sort of assistant manager. I think it's different if you're still stroke player. Do you get what I mean? I don't think had he just have been on the sides, then he would have left for the consortium. But in terms of Considine, I've also heard that it was down to Considine's agent getting in and demanding this, that, and the next thing. And Goodwin's just fell like that. Nah, you're not.
I heard that, I know.
Apparently that's why big Considine's now at the door. But I get what you're saying, Ryan. It's as if he's sort of been ruthless. But I don't think there's a manager in the league apart from Goodwin who's under immediate pressure because it didn't look good from there towards the end of the season. And he had how many? He had about what?
More than enough.
13, 14 games, maybe more. I don't think Aberdeen fans were happy. They looked like they finished the league. He didn't improve it enough. The same as Maloney with Hibs. He didn't improve it enough to then say the Aberdeen fans will be sitting now going, right, he needs to get these signings right, he needs to get the recruitment right to see if no, he's under pressure straight away. First couple of games, by the way, if they don't get results, I can see him out the door.
100%, mate. Took the words out of my mouth. If he doesn't hit the ground running with us, he's off. Do you know what I mean? I personally don't think he's the right man to take them forward because Aberdeen are a big club. They're a big club. Yeah.
I mentioned it the other night when we were speaking to Barry Bannon when they've been rumoured to be taking Scales on loan for us. And I don't think that's a good move for Liam Scales because Jim Goodwin isn't an attacking style manager like Ange and he doesn't play the same type of football. And I think Scales need to go and play with a team who play the same type of football. No, a team that
do you know what
want to go route one to Ramirez and you know what I mean? It's not going to. For me, it's just not going to work out. It's the same similar to Billy Gilmore going to Norwich. It was never going to. Marry the two together. If you get what I mean.
I think Scales would do well in a Derek McInnes team with Kilmarnock. They play so. I think that would be a good move for him. They play sort of. They're no. He likes to get the ball down in the deck and play a bit of football as much. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's done really well.
What about? I think on Scales, Jason. What about Hibs? The way Lee Johnson wants to play his football. I think Hibs are rumoured to be talking to Aidan McGeady as well. But obviously there's a lot of competition. Johnson says Aidan McGeady goes to Hibs. I know he's 35 now, still an absolute coup. The guy could still easily sit in Mace Championship and League One down south benches, no bother and play with Kim coup. I think no reason might have left Sunderland is I know his injuries have started happening to him, but he's on good money at Sunderland, and obviously they maybe want to cut costs. So I think Lee Johnson at Hibs, again, his Sunderland team try to attack. I think his team's doing south of all want to attack. So I think on the scales, Jason, I agree with you what JP says. Guys who we send out on loan, if it's Bolingoli, Scales, Barkas, obviously goalie's different, but Scales, I think, Jason, I agree with you that teams like Derek McInnes, I think as well, I think his team's really fucking rigged out and he won't stand for shite, let's be fair.
Aye. No, I think I've got a sneaky feeling that Hibs are going to be a good team this year, by the way, because they've just signed a boy for Benfica. Apparently he's meant to be...
He's a total baller, by the way.
He's meant to be really good, so I think they'll do well. And I tell you now, right, if Aidan McGeady does go to them, that is a fantastic signing for Hibs. People say he's 35 and all that, but he's past it. 35 is nothing in football. You know? If you look after yourself and do the right things.
He knows the league and all.
Mm-hmm.
He knows the league as well, and he's got great experience. He's played the Champions League, he's played at international level.
He played in Russia, I know.
He's got a bag of experience. I wouldn't put it past Aidan McGeady coming in and actually taking the captaincy off Porty, so you go. I think he's more a leader than Big Porty, because let's face it, Big Porty is up to now, he's a liability, because one game he might have a yellow card, the next game he's getting a straight red card. You're kind of panicking because he does a lot of good things, but then he does a lot of daft things to pay for all the good things he's done and sort of undermine the good he does bring to the team. I think he's a decent big player. I think he's got all the tools to be a good one. But he's too rash, he's too daft, and he's one of the players, if I played against him, he's the one I would target because he looks like an easy target to wind up.
Aye. I think if he took that, what you're saying about the yellow and red cards, and see if he did take out his game and calmed it down, I think if he didn't have that, Celtic would take a punt on him, personally. I think if he didn't have that, but I think saying like that, no, he's too rash.
Possibly. But in terms of ball and goalie, Ryan, I don't even think the credit union would take him in loan now, mate. I think he's finished the other day. I think he's, honestly, mate, I think he's... He was never. I actually think it's going to get to a stage now where Celtic are probably going to have to terminate whatever's left in his contract. What is it, a year?
He's got a year left.
Right, so you're probably looking at Celtic just saying, there you go, son, enjoy your train journey or enjoy your trip out to Benidorm. Because I don't know. I don't even know if he's been on fag runs this summer or whatnot, because that's his 14 now, isn't it? He was doing that the last time and got himself into trouble for that. But
see, when all that happened last year, man, you just knew when that happened to him. I was like, oh, here we go, man. Do you know what I mean?
We spoke about that, Jason. It just sort of upset the whole. It started, well, between that and Griffiths coming back overweight and out of shape, and it just started a lot of noise for the wrong reasons coming out the club, and a really vital season for us. But I'm not going down that road again because we know what the outcome and all that was. But as I say, but in terms of new signings, I just want to see us bringing in. It's got to be guys that are better than what we've got. There's no point in bringing in guys that are no better than what we've got. It's got to be guys that are going to take us to the next level in the Champions League or in Europe of some capacity. I'm going to be realistic, and a lot of the listeners and viewers might not like this, but if we don't sign the right quality and we sign guys who, I can't see it right enough, this is a what if, because you never know with Celtic, and so far so good with hands and touch every word this continues, but if we sign guys and it's like, we take a punt on guys and it maybe works out like he's another Kamala or another Bayo or another Marianne Schved or another Marvin Compar or another Jack Hendry or Stephen Hendry or whoever you want to think of, do you know what I mean? Because we might need Stephen Hendry if we sign people like that, because we'll need Snickers. But if we sign guys of that ilk, then we'll get what happened the last time, Ryan, that we spoke about, mate, when you said you seen Cavani score a beauty against us at Celtic Park. We'll get absolutely scalped in there. See the level of quality that the team that we've got are going to have to go up a level or two to even be ready for match day. Because you're playing teams with, it's a different level altogether for what we used to playing. Totally different level. We'll be tested for the first minute as soon as the ref blows the whistle. These teams are going to press us. These teams are going to press us faster, sharper, a lot more intensity than what we're used to being pressed in Scottish football, even against that mob across the water. Because a lot of them, some of the way they play, I mean, some of them can't even press their jerseys after the game, you know what I mean? So they're absolutely hopeless. But we will be pressed, we'll be tested. And that's how I've said before or not. I think we need people who are better on the ball. They need to be able to take the ball under pressure, turn in tight spaces and play out it and find a way out it. Even if it means you go back to the goalie. But you need to keep the ball and keep it away from the opposition. I know that's easier said than done. But the way Ange wants to play and the way we know Ange is going to play, if we don't have the right players to come in and do that, and we start going toe-to-toe with teams like Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid and Liverpool, I mean, you're talking about guys like Mbappe and guys like Benzema, guys like Modric, guys like Mo Salah, guys like
Haaland,
there you go. Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, I don't even need to tell you, he's no footballer, so but it's a totally different level altogether. That's what gives me the fear. It gives me a bit of excitement as well, but it also gives me the fear because I know Ange isn't going to change the way he plays, and I don't want to hear Celtic fans going, "Oh, how's he not changing? Why should he? It's worked for him up to now, so why should he change just because of that? Because we're going to play against a team that have got quality players, but he's trying to coach a team and put them up a level." And I think now that they're used to... I seen a recent interview there with Juranovic. I don't know if you've seen it. And he's talked about having more muscles in his legs than he's ever had before. He's talked about being fitter than he ever has before. This is probably the fittest a lot of them have ever been. So see now that they're a year underway in their training and everything else. Barry Bannon says it to us the other night now. You become accustomed to it. It becomes second nature once you do things after a while. So when they come back in, training doesn't get easier, it gets harder. Because this training now goes up a level. There'll be levels to Ange's training, and it'll be like the old computer games you used to get, and you go through stages, and then you knock down the leader, then it's on to the next stage. That's what it's like. I'd imagine it'll be similar to that, and you just move on to the next level, and the next level gets harder and harder, and that's what I imagine. The intensity gets up, not all the time. And it's going to have to, because you're going to Champions League.
For me, mate, I agree with you in terms of it's a lot harder. And I think because they were in Champions League for the first time in a few years, and some fans, again, I'm only going by social media and what you see, what you hear in the pubs, etc. It's euphoria. I've been in there. I can't wait. I'm buzzing. I'm like, but I'm thinking, be realistic here, guys. We are going to be the fourth fucking pot. We could finish fourth. We could finish third. We could have an absolute miracle group stage and get a lucky draw that we never have, and get, I know I say lucky draw, every team's going to be fucking hard, right? But if you get an ideal-ish group that you might get a chance of finishing third at a plus second, again, that's me fucking being total no realistic, right? For me being realistic, right, I know you're saying, we all know Ange won't change his philosophy, he won't change the way to play, he might tweak the odd tactic, but I don't think he'll play his attacking football, right? And some fans and viewers and all fans in general might think, Ryan, or you're being negative. You can't go toe-to-toe with these teams. You just can't do it. Rodgers tried to do it with his attacking philosophy. He went to fucking basically New Camp with two wingers, and he went to fucking home to PSG basically play. You can't do that. You can't do that against these teams. I know we're laughing, right? But I was watching that game and Paris, I think it was 7-1 when you beat. I watched that and I was thinking, right, Akmi scored, and I was like, brilliant, right, just defend now. If you beat 3-1, you beat 3-1. But fucking defend. And he still keeps fucking the three up front.
Is that the Dembele scored against PSG? Made them angry, didn't he?
Aye, but he kept Sinclair, and I can't remember, it might have been Forrest, I can't remember who was it.
I think it was Forrest, wasn't it?
And he kept him in charm in that position.
Roberts? Was it Paddy Roberts?
And he kept him in charm basically in that position behind Dembele, I think was, right? Anyway, I know, listen, I'm not going to question that guy's managerial integrity, right? But anybody knows it. Away from home like that, if you're 1-0 up, just fucking defend the rest of the game. We can't, even with Angie's team, right, even though we're signed Vickers and Stafford's played well, and European football at the top level, we're not good enough to defend. It's as simple as that. It's shown in fucking years gone past. O'Neill's team couldn't even fucking defend in Europe. So, do you know what I mean? A bit of some fans, again, I'm only seen by what I see on Twitter. I'm very positive about us being there and going away days, and hopefully we try and do very well. But I'm totally with you, JP. We need to, I'm not saying you're not going to strengthening, but fucking spend £30 million in players, but he's got to get every signing right. I know, touchwood, so far he has. But every signing's a gamble. We know that, Jason, as well. But we've got to, like JP says, Jason, the recruitment level's got to go up again now. I know we've done the rebuild, but now it's got to be how do we improve? Because you can't just go, we've won the league with whatever points, we've won a double, I will just sit on laurels. I know we won't, but we've got to fucking, like JP says, you need to, every position you need to strengthen, and the left back position, it's massive we need to strengthen. I know we all know, when they listen to the podcast, know my thoughts on Taylor. I think he's all right for the SPFL. European football, the guy could be, I told you, Ralph's improved me wrong, but he's just, for me, he's just a left back for the SPL. I don't think he's going to take it to the next level, and this is why the Argentinian boy, a guy that ilk, we've got to sign, because the way Ange wants to play, Greg Taylor's a customised it, Jason, but it's not a full free flowing up and down that we need personally. And knowing another thing JP says as well about the training level, again, that's going to go up because you're playing against better opposition next year. You've got to prepare for better Rangers as well. Again, I can't see them being any better than they were last year. I think they might even be worse, but you've always got to prepare for the better. But for me, Jason, I don't know what you think of the transfer situation in Champions League, but I think going forward, it is going to be a massive transfer window. Because I think we've got to, let's be realistic, we've been shite in Europe. We've not really competed. I know it's hard to compete with the money, but teams with a lesser budget than us fucking compete. Under Neil Lennon, we had a £60 million budget all in, including wages and staff. So for a club in Scotland, that's fucking ridiculous. I know Ange's got to do a bit now. But I think just going forward, the recruitment level's got to be better. In the European sense under Ange, I think it will be, hopefully. But I think it's a massive, massive, important group stage for us, because if we go with a whimper, that's, I think, going Celtic's push again. Scottish football's push. Celtic are shite, and then you'll get the other mob. Oh, jeez, are fucking failed again. And we need to finish at least third. I know this is far ahead into the season, but we need to get a solid fucking balance in Europe, because I'm sick of going to these teams getting fucking pumped 7 and 6-1. And I know they're far better than us, but see if you get your tactics spot on. And I can't mind, I'm sure it was Kellen Wilson we spoke to JP, and he says they basically marked Messi out the game, but they try to get him out the game. But their plan worked.
You heard them and all when he says that night, they knew, they had a feeling themselves. They sort, I think it comes through inside the dressing room as well, Ryan. It's not just a case of we need to alter our tactics, we need to do that. We need to have everybody at it, mate. That's the thing as well. We need to have everybody switched on, ready to go, ready to fire. You heard Kelvin himself, mate. He told us that he was doing a warm-up with Chris Commons and two of them were stretching. He turned around and went at him. We're beating him tonight. He just knew right away. And I think that fed through the dressing room. Now, the team at Angie's built, Ryan, sounds as if they've got good camaraderie, right? See if that positive vibe comes from McGregor or Joe Hart or somebody that's looked up to upon in that dressing room, that will venture out into that dressing room, mate, and the rest of them will all just take great courage and positivity for that. I have no doubts about that, mate. But see what you're saying, Ryan, about the results against the big teams that fed up getting lettered and all that. So am I. But see these big results against these teams, Ryan. That's why they're so far and few between, mate, because it's so hard today.
Yep.
You can't then come off the back of Barcelona to next Tuesday, you're playing PSG, and then repeat the performance level, because it takes so much out your team. Your team, it's unfortunate that these guys are at the elite level. I've heard the thing, mate, talking about it, Craig Bellamy, and he was asked about his level, and he was superb and everything. He says, but see, these guys were a level above something I would never, ever get to. He says, it's just impossible. And so he was asked how, and he says, I don't know. He says, these guys are born with that talent. That's how there's only one or two, or maybe 3 or 4 of them spread out throughout the world. The rest can be developed. I don't doubt it. But see guys like Mbappe, there's nobody else like Mbappe. Neymar's a different type of player altogether from Mbappe. Neymar wants to showboat, and Messi was superb and Ronaldo was superb. but they're all separated. Very seldom do you see all these guys playing in a one team. So the PSG side of things is a bit of a myth in terms of the three of them are together.
They're trying it and it's no button.
Well, look at the Galacticos at Real Madrid, I know, Jace. Sometimes, see having all the best, see even like when you go to play fives and you think you're in a team that's maybe no, oh, you got to get it doing, man, and then you end up winning.
No.
Sometimes it just doesn't work having two or three, maybe four brilliant players on your team. It's how you work as a unit, know how you work individually.
I think when it comes to like that, when you've got the 3 and 4 and 5 good players on the one team, they're all very ego-driven, I think.
Well, that comes in it, no.
They all know they're good. Do you know what I mean?
That's how I'm watching a Man United team fail, because he's doing it egos in the dressing room.
Paul Pogba, right? He's got all the talent in the world, but
he's too busy interested in these fancy haircuts and a motor he's driving about.
Aye. But I think in regards to the signings, we can't, as JP said, we can't sign any prospects. We need to sign players that are proven and tested at this level. And I would rather take a 26, 27 and a 28-year-old that I know is going to come in and is going to do well for us and get us results, rather than taking somebody like Ramsey for Aberdeen, who hasn't heard. He's not going to come in and do well for us in the Champions League, is he? And I think with regards to the left back, I agree with you a wee bit, Ryan. I think Taylor's good for the SPL, but I think especially against Bodo Glimt at home, he was found right at that level.
So was the whole team, Jess. We could beat that,
I know, but I don't care what anybody says. We should be beating teams like that at Parkhead. 110%.
I would agree with you, but we started on the back. This is the problem as well, mate. This is an ongoing issue. It was the same against Copenhagen. It was the same against Malmo. It was the same against Maribor. It was the same against Legia Warsaw when we had to play them out at Murrayfield. See whatever happens, we cannot keep consistency. There has been an ongoing issue with consistency for us in Europe for a number of years now. Now, we've had all these different managers. So it can't be that all these different managers are all bad managers when it comes to playing in Europe. It just seems to be a player thing or a team thing that we just can't seem to get by. I don't know what it is, but it's a performance level thing. Some nights we'll come out and we'll play the way we did when we beat them 3-0 in February. We'll be outstanding the Wednesday night then. But then the other weeks we'll come out and we'll be like the way we played in the second last game at Tannadice. We were flat, and see if another team's up against you, Jace, and they've got bits of quality like Solbakken and Veltsen and the other big boy Saltinez and the big boy Webb and Gomo, and these guys were quality. See if you've got 2 or 3, and we've not got all your players hitting 8, 9 and 10 that night. We're going to struggle. That's how these teams are coming and they're putting in performances. Even Ferencváros turned us here and put us out the Champions League qualifiers when we had that terrible season. But I don't think we've got it's a consistency issue, I think, Jace.
We don't have we used to have especially when Martin O'Neill and that was there was a fear that people would come to Europe, but I don't want to play them at Celtic Park. I think now in Europe, people like that, we can get a result against them, and that needs to change. And I think if that changes, then your mindset will change. You'll be like, we can go out and we can get a result against them. I think it'll change now for the sorry, Ryan, just a wee second, mate. I think it'll change, Jace, now for the simple fact now we've got explicit pace and energy in my team now. I think that see what we've got with Kyogo and Abada and Maeda and Jota, even Big Giakoumakis isn't the slowest either. We've also got the speed of thought and McGregor and like O'Reilly and Forrest has got a turn of pace when he can turn it on if he's interested and he wants to be there, okay. We've got Juranovic, Big Starfelt's got a turn of pace back there, I know he can get back and cover. So is Carter Vickers.
Aye. So see because of the pace and the energy, and then it's all 1-2 touch the balls away. And it's a lot of your play comes from the manipulation of dragging the opposition out of position to play the inverted fullbacks, and I think we'll hit a lot of teams this season in terms of a pace. Like say, Maeda especially, you can use that as a weapon just on its own.
Yeah.
If you're clever enough. And I think a lot of teams are going to, I wouldn't say struggle, maybe not the big teams, but you'll get a bit of joy now because of the speed, the intricateness of the way we want to play, especially Europeanly, because I think the boys are set up to play in Europe. They're kind of set up to play because you need a lot of technical ability when you get into Champions League as well. A lot of people are saying you need to be harder. Aye, okay. Champions League isn't built on people that are rock solid. It's built on people who are good on the ball. It's built on the technical ability of the team.
Quick football, mate. Quick
football. Yes. And that's the way Ange wants to play. So I think we might actually surprise ourselves because people are saying, well, he's not good enough for Europa Conference and he's not good enough for Europa. Either right. But we've not been in the Champions League for a few years now.
See on another.
We've not played in there to see what it's going to be like.
See in a different group stage in a different year, you're getting through that group. You're getting through that group
last
stage.
Season.
You're getting through.
Well, we finished with 9 points, Dave. Across the water, only finished with 8.
I know that's what I'm saying. It just so happened to be that we had a group with Bayer Leverkusen and Real Betis in it.
That was a group of death. It was.
Let's be honest. We were 5 minutes away from beating Leverkusen earlier.
And we were 2-0 up in Spain as well.
Again, I think that's been the lack of having it up there because they've not done European football. Was it they thought that they could switch off for 5 minutes?
Exactly, and the team did grow.
That's how quick you can get punished in European football. Yeah. That's how quick.
Yeah, and our team did grow in terms of the tactical awareness and the style Ange wanted to play. So, like say, if we were to play Betis again now and go 2-0 up again, I think we've got the tactical now about our squad to go.
100%.
They'll not come back and beat us now. Our game management would be totally different now. We proved that at Ibrox.
Yeah.
When we let them again, another tactic that we showed when we in like the second half at Parkhead in the 3-0 game was let them have the ball, but they're not going to play through us. They're going to have to play runners and try to get the ball in. Whereas we just that day with guys who were putting their bodies on the line because they knew what it meant. They knew we were going to go 6 points ahead, and realistically, the mentality and everything was totally gone then because realistically, they knew the league was done.
See what you're saying about with the 3-0 game, we went and we sort of dropped off at half time into the second half. He's kind of Ange has changed it ever so slightly then because he's been like that. Well, the game's won. Obviously, he's not said that, but he's been like he's changed his tactics that way and went slow it down, let them come to you.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So when people go, but he's only got the one tactic. Well, he's not really. He's not really.
He changes it mid-game too, guys, and that's what I love about him. He knows how to be proactive instead of reactive.
When we went up to Perth and all, when we had the COVID outbreak, I think he changed it then. That was when we beat on in that squad.
I think he's definitely got it in him to change, but I just think when it comes to, I think at home, we all know the way he's going to play, no matter who we're playing, if it's Real Madrid or whoever we get in the group. I think at home, he'll play the one way. I don't think he'll change at home. I think he'll play the normal style, but away from home, like you says, when we went behind, even with Lennon, I think we went to Lille 2-0 up, we ended up, I think we drew. Just things like that. It's happened for years, as JP says. It's not just happened under Ange, it's been happened. It's just, I don't want to say it's a culture thing at the club, it's just a thing at Celtic for years. We either seem to concede bang on early doors or bang over, it's always either before half time, at the start of half time, or at the end. It's always at these times and you go, here we go, typical Celtic, it's happened again. And I just think under Ange, it has been in better Europe, I can't lie. But anybody who listened to the podcast and previous pods, that game in Bodo, it sticks in my throat still.
Aye.
It still sticks in my throat, and I'm thinking, if we can't go with it, I know it's cold, and I know at the time they were guys at Solback and at the top of the game. I know they just came up for pre-season. That worried me, that game. Some fans might think you're talking in the past, what you talk about. For European sense, that worried me. And I agree with you, Jason. We all knew how good Bodo were going to be. We knew the way they were going to play. They played us to a T, right? I was thinking, right, this year they're sitting 6th or 7th in the league. They're pushed this year, right? I know they're starting to lose their players. But that game, we all know, it stuck my throat. I was so disappointed the way we went out with a whimper. And
you knew, but Ryan, you knew, sorry to interrupt, right? But you knew with the team that he put out, and he knew the tie was over. But for me, if I was in that team, I'd been like, well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to give a bit here and show what I can do.
I totally understand.
It's hard to do that, Jace. It's hard to do that if you've not been playing for weeks, mate. Right. It's hard to then play to that level because it's all right training, mate, and doing well in training. See, if you've not played games and you're no match ready, it's hard to come in and go, boom, and you're right at it. You're playing against a team with the upper hand with the home fans.
It is, but that's in a sense. If I totally agree. We've all played football. If you're not played, there was times where I was the best and I played for weeks. Then you start a game 90 minutes. It's hard to play. But at this level, if you're good enough, you should be able to do it. In my opinion, guys like McCarthy, who I think is a good player, might not play in 6 weeks, but he should be good enough to come in and play that role. Border. That's why these guys are there, in my opinion, and that's why I think it's you want to be used to or saying guys that when to sign guys that can come in and do it right away. Guys like Abada come in, boom, right away. If you get this guy for Argentina,
been unexpected, I think, with him as well, Ryan, because I think he was supposed to be. I think he was one of the ones that came in at a time with depleted numbers, and I think Ange had no option but to throw him in. But maybe didn't know how good he was actually going. He was only like 18, 19 when he signed these. So what is he? 19 now or 20?
20, I think. See 20. What you're saying about having defenders and all that. You've got that other boy that played against Betis, and then you get put out and loaned to Belgium.
I'm not going to lie, I know I've only seen him play once.
He had a good game against Betis, that boy. At home.
I don't want to look too ahead of the blokes. I've only seen him a few games, 2 or 3 friendlies in a game against Betis. He is a young boy. In the first game against Betis, again, it's just my opinion. Some of the opinions I've seen about him saying he played very well. I know you say he played well, Jason. He grew into the game the second half, but the first half he looked fucking lost. I was watching down my side and I thought, this boy's going to get his beat today. He just looked lost. He grew into the second half, and I understand it was his first game at that level. It takes time to go into that level.
You've got that boy Shaw that was in loan to Motherwell, I know. You've got still... I don't know. This is.
I just think the boy Shaw. The fact I know even on the Motherwell, right? I just can't see the boy playing. I know Ange might rate him. I just can't see how he's going to step up to go and play. But he might deny a year out on loan again to play injury free consistently. On Urigide.
How much did he play at Motherwell?
I think he was injured a lot at JP, I think, wasn't he?
He played at Ibrox in the 2-week game, I know that.
He played well when he played, but he was injured a lot, wasn't
he? There's a boy, I can't understand this, right? I know it's off subject, right? But you've got boys in that team, 19, 20, up to 23, who are injured all the time. Mikey Johnson being a prime example, right? That boy's 23 years of age and has been injured his full Celtic career, really. Do you know what I mean? And then you look at
that's a shame for the boy. I know.
It's right, but there's got to be a cut-off with Celtic like that. You're not going to make it here.
I know fans. Again, we pay our money, and some opinions might be far-fetched and too much. But again, that's football these days. Mikey Johnson, the boy's obviously got a talent because you don't beat Celtic for so long as he's been at Celtic and been at Celtic first team at his age. So I think I say the JP, roughly 17, 18, if you're not really playing in the first team, the chance you get into the first team is going to be fucking hard. And the boy's been previously the first team for a good few years now.
He's been there for Brendan anyway.
He's got a lot of talent, lads, but I think maybe, is it the workload's too much for his body? Can he only maybe train once, 2-3 times a week and then play on a Saturday? But again, that's maybe Ange's got to manage him. I don't know the boy, how he is injury-wise personally. I don't know how he is body-wise personally, but obviously there's something that his body maybe training at that level every day,
I think he lacks a bit of confidence as well, because I've seen it with Wraith Rovers in the Cup. He played and it was horrendous. It's as if he's too feared to go in for a tackle in case he gets injured, and then he'll be like that. And the back he's like that.
Mentally.
If I get injured again, I'm going to have them on my back saying, he's injured again. Do you know what I mean? So
I feel sorry for him because he's been through my prescriptions and it's been on a GP's desk.
I
it's just,
feel sorry for him, I know, JP, but
I know it's bad laughing, but
you've got to make the decision because...
No, this is it, Jace, I know. Because you
could get rid of him and bring in a more proven winger to back up for Jota, or for them and Jota to try and fight for it. Do you know what I mean? Because
don't forget as well, you've got young Owen Moffat sitting there as well.
Exactly.
So,
do you know what I mean?
If Mikey Johnson's had all the chances he's had, now I'm not saying Mikey Johnson's a bad player, because again, I don't like slagging professionals, because I'm sitting here talking about them and they're doing it, regardless of what level they're at.
Mm-hmm.
But to play at Celtic, you need to be at a certain standard. And the standards he's now setting for himself from the Celtic standards, in my opinion.
No. There's a few...
Some of the standards he's actually set over the last 18 months, he wouldn't get a game with Simpson Juniors.
No, I totally spot on.
Because he lacks that.
I like how you say I don't want to slag him, but he's playing with Sheffield Juniors.
I don't know. He lacks belief. I'm not
slagging him. I'm just saying.
I know.
He lacks belief.
His input to his Celtic contract, hasn't he? But Celtic have been wanting off him.
But again, I think Ange does rate him, and he does see something in him. But
I think he does, but Ange's only going to be patient for so long, and then I think Ange's going to have to call it a day. Because let's face it, I mean, his sick lines must be like the Bible. It must be like that. So I'll not be long before a Jehovah's Witnesses are shutting their door with a Mikey Johnson story. It's about that deep. Do you know what I mean?
think he does need to go away, maybe go in a year's loan and just find his form again, and then
I'm just going to put it out there. Just because he's due to his injuries, and I think just his body, I don't think he's going to make it Celtic. I think I'm agreeing with you, Jason. I think you need
to let Dembele go, and I think Dembele's a far better player than Mickey Johnson.
I think you need to be Johnson. I would say either send him out on loan and then see how he maybe comes back. But I'm just going to put it out there. I don't think he's going to make it Celtic under Ange. No. I know he might rate him, but if you've got a Abada, I think obviously Forrest is ahead of him in the pipeline. If you've got Abada and Jota's your two main wingers, obviously if Jota signs, but obviously with the hopes that he will, hopefully. They two are obviously going to be your main wingers unless you sign somebody else. I agree with you. I think that the boys got a lot of talent, and that is a shame. That I think I'm agreeing with you. I think there's a certain degree where you go, right, where do you cut ties with players? And I think maybe it might be again, but it all depends on who wants him as well. You can't just go to a guy listening going out on loan. A guy's going to want you, and that's similar to obviously the situation now, JP with Jullien. Suppose he's come out and again, it's all hearsay from papers, and supposedly Hamley's agent spoke to Ange. He's going to fight for his place and stay again. This could be, he's saying this now, gets to August or whatever, end of the window, and he goes, right, I've got a bid, I'm off. We don't know. It could be a thing he plays the fans, or it could be a general thing where he is wanting. We've seen his social media, he's in the Celtic gear, doing his training and keeping fit for the season to come. And top of Jullien, JP, I've said, I think I said it on Twitter, if you keep Jullien and he's mentally fit and physically fit, and he's mentally on the ball with Jullien, we know. If you've got Starfelt, Jullien and Vickers as your three centre-backs, I'm happy with that. But you need, I would say, a fourth decent centre-back. In my opinion, to the level we're playing at, you need four quality-ish. I would say you need two quality centre-backs. You need a third guy who can come in and play, and a guy to back him up. So obviously you need four top centre-backs to come in and play. And then you've got maybe the fifth guy sitting there in the squad to come in and play cup games, or if guys are injured, like maybe a Welsh, who, again, I was a topic on Twitter today on the tweet I put up. Guys saying he's good enough, and guys saying he's not good enough, and guys were saying that he's better than Jullien. And again, if it's opinions, boys, I'm not going to give guys shit about your opinion, because football's opinion. We all see different games, different side of the game. But for me, Jullien's far better than Stephen Welsh. Stephen Welsh can. Again, I'm not going to slag Welsh, I'm going to slag him here, but it's a bit of banter. He couldn't lace Jullien's boots. In my opinion, Jullien's a £7 million centre-back, and for me, he's proved it for what he's done in most of the time he's been here, scored some very, very important goals, he's done some very good tackles for us in big games. He might have been half injured and it looks like he may have shot himself at a game, but we don't know ins and outs if he was injured or no. The game that he obviously done his knee in, for me, it was he didn't have to do the tackle, but he done it because he fights for the badge and fights for the team. Nobody, in my opinion, can question his attitude. When he's played, he's been good. He's always fought for the badge. He's been through a tough time. Hopefully, he can get himself back fit and again can fit himself back in Ange's plans. JP, obviously, Ange might not fancy him because he was fit and didn't play him. But again, pre-season's a new slate for a lot of guys. And I personally think JP, if you get Jullien, Vickers, and Starfelt as your three centre backs to play, you can then go to play a back three. You can put Starfelt into the middle and play Jullien and Vickers outside him, because Starfelt, for me, is more comfortable playing in the middle than he would playing at the left than he's been playing. So it gives you an option that way as well to play the Ivanovic higher, and if it is Taylor or this boy Faustina left, it gives you more options. But I do believe that a fully fit Jullien on the ball is a big asset to Celtic going forward. And in Europe, I thought some fans were giving him a bit of disrespect. Some of the tweets saying he's not good enough, he's finished. He's not finished, he's just come back from a fucking bad injury. You've got to give a guy time at this level to step in and play. I think he's good enough to play in Angie's team. If Ange obviously rates him, it's a different question, but for what I've seen for Jullien in the past, I've no qualms about him playing for Celtic again, if obviously the manager JP wants to play him. But for me, to sign a ball like Jullien, JP, how much are you going to pay? Well, for the same fee we're voting for? A Vickers fee, Starfelt fee, roughly £5 million, £6 million. So
well, anything for five upwards anyway, definitely.
I'd rather keep that in my squad than let it go than buy it again. Obviously, JP, at the end of the season, if you don't get a new deal for him, you might need to buy it again. But I'd rather leave that another season to then maybe progress in Europe and identify a centre-back for that to happen instead of having to do it the new and then going, right, we need to buy somebody else now. So don't be thinking that on Jullien, JP, but I'm a believer. If he's fully fit and fully on the ball, I would keep him. But again, it's all down to Ange.
Absolutely, mate. In terms of what he says about the challenge that got him injured, he did have to make it, because if he didn't, it was going to be a goal. United were scoring.
I can't, for what I remember, I didn't think the ball was going in. I genuinely didn't.
I think it was, and he cleared it off the line. I reckon it would have been in off the post that he smacked with his knee. But in terms of Jullien, I mean, just his experience level alone, he's played in Europe. He's scored vital goals for us. He seems to be a big game player when he's fully fit and ready to go. He's a big character in the team, for what I'm hearing as well. A lot of boys look up to him, and that's because he's nearly 7 feet. That's not because he's anything else. A lot of boys don't have any other option but to look up to him because he's massive. But no, I've heard he's really good in the dressing room with the boys. I think it's took him up. I've also heard as well that it's took him a wee while to get his set up to speed properly. Maybe that's been the case. Maybe Ange, but we've heard as well with Ange doesn't want to change his centre backs a lot. I do think at some point Ange is going to be forced to, because of the amount of football that we're going to have to play this season coming. Everything's getting crammed this season as well, lads. Let's not forget that. We're going to have to cram near enough half a season into just before November. So we break up at the end of October, beginning of November, and we're not back into December. So I think there's about it's between a 5 and 6 week break, for what I'm hearing. That's a long time, especially mid-season. Well, not even mid-season, but it's going to be mid-season, if that makes sense. We're then not going to have the break in January. So when the boys come back in December, with a new member to the family in VAR. It's going to be very interesting. And how do you implement VAR mid-season as well? No doubt there's going to be teething problems because nothing seems to go right in the SFA. So I'd imagine this will be something to tick off in the long list of many problems that we've had through the years. But in terms of Jullien, mate, it's a no-brainer for me. If he works hard and he wants to stay, it's a no-brainer for me. But he is going to have to work because he's not just going to, I'm Chris Jullien and I'm just waltzing back into the team. Well, no, I'm sorry, but there's two boys there that played out their skin and were a massive reason as to why Celtic won the league the way they did in that season there. And I can't believe, I've just seen a thing today as well, that Carol Starfelt was the only outfield player last season for Celtic not to score.
Really?
Yes.
I that's true. Because I'm sure there was a game I put a 5 on him actually to score, and I think he missed the heater, and it was one of the last games. I was like,
I think he hit the post or the bar or something.
I was like, he's going to score this week. He's going to score this week. He's going to score this week.
He was the only outfield player for Celtic not to score. Yeah, he was only an outfield player on the team not to score. That includes people for the bench as well. So like Liam Scales and that scored, and boys that came in. I find that phenomenal. I really do. That's a start in itself, that. But Chris Jullien is also a massive threat line at set pieces in the opposition box because he can go on the end of quite a lot of good deliveries. We've seen that. He scored vital goals and big goals for us. So for me, it's a no-brainer in terms of keeping a hold of him. But he needs to be right. He needs to be fully focused and ready to go. It can't be a half-hearted attempt, and deep down he's missing his cronies, i.e. Edward and Cham and people like that. Because we've had a lot of rattles getting flung at the pram in previous seasons. Don't want unrest in the camp. Recently he's been over in France and he's been doing interviews on media, podcasts and this, that and the next thing, moaning about Ange, and he's told Ange in January he was fit, and I don't know if that's the translation getting mixed up or that's exactly what was said. I wasn't there, but you're hearing that's why he was left out of the last. I mean, he was left out the last day of the season's team. So I don't know if fans if fans doesn't rate him, if he can't play Ange's style. We'll find out where he is in pre-season. I'm assuming Ange will try him out in pre-season and see where he is when we travel to Austria in a couple of weeks' time. So we'll soon find out what's going to be happening with him. I think he's got a year left in his contract, so but to replace somebody like Chris Jullien, a fully fit Chris Jullien, it's ready to go. You're talking anything for 5 million upwards. But the guy that says, or whoever it was, it says Stephen Welsh is better than Chris Jullien, I think must have been heavily medicated or just off a weekend on a booze or something, because Stephen Welsh, albeit I'm not going to slag the boy, but he's certainly no better than Chris Jullien. Definitely no.
Yourself, Jason, obviously Jullien is in a bit of topic since he came back, and I agree with JP. Again, Stephen Welsh is a Scottish under 21 international. He's played with Celtic, he's won cups and trophies, so we're not going to give the guy any disservice. But on football terms, I think Jullien far better player to come in and play, especially in European football, because we all need a physical threat in these games, especially even in the league as well, because I think that every season the league's getting stronger and better and faster, and Jullien is, he might not be blessed with pace, but I do think he's very good in what I've seen from him. I don't know what you think, mate, but he has been splitting the fans the last kind of few weeks and months about his time coming to an end, or is he going to be staying? But I'm with JP, and I think he's still got a big part to play if he's able to fit. And some fans are saying he can't adapt. I'm sorry, but how can any of us fans say he can't adapt? He's not fucking played yet.
No.
So that's just my opinion. Again, we've all got opinions. I'm not going to sit and say if fans are wrong, but as me as a fan, I cannot say Chris Jullien cannot adapt when I've not seen the guy play football. I said at the start that Starfelt couldn't adapt, and look at Starfelt now. So I'm not going to give anybody any doubt until last year and play a good 5, 6, 7, well, not even 5, about 10 games in a row before I go, right, that boy's Celtic class or no. But I don't really think about Jullien come back into the fold or no, Jason.
I think Jullien staying is good news. I sort of agree with you too. I think if he's fully fit and firing on all cylinders, I think he plays. I think if he gets given a chance and he gets a good pre-season under his belt and he eventually gets his chance and he does well, I think he'll stay on the team. We've missed him for corners. Do you know what I mean? He's very, very good in there. I think his goal against Lazio at home for me was exactly what we miss for set pieces.
Took it out off Celtic Park, aren't he? So he did, man.
I think that I put it this way: if we had went to Champions League and CCV or Starfelt was injured, I wouldn't be concerned that Jullien will be able to step up and play. He's very, very comfortable with a ball at his feet. And he's got a bit. He scored a goal last year. I think it was against Hibs, and he ran through them all and then slotted it into the bottom corner. It was a cracking goal he scored. He's got that in his locker or not.
The goal he scored in the final against him.
Aye, do you know what I mean? I think maybe, I don't know if he's walked into Ange and said, "Oh, I'm fit, I should be playing." I don't believe that that's happened. I think maybe Ange has been like, "I can't change it now." And but you don't know what it's like. None of us have had an injury like that where it goes in your head and you're like that, and it takes you that long to get back into it. Do you know what I mean? That's why I think if he needs to get a good pre-season under his belt. But I think, listen, you don't get signed for 7 million if you're a dud, put it that way. And I don't understand that about he's not adapted. He's came from France and adapted to Scottish football, so I don't believe that.
No, I agree with it, 100%.
And I think that if anybody thinks that Stephen Welsh is better than Christopher Jullien, then football isn't for them. Definitely not.
I agree with you too. He's on that, aye. For me, Jullien.
I don't think Stephen Welsh is good enough to play for Celtic. I've been saying it for a while now. And it was confirmed for me. It was against at Hampden when he came on. I think he went to right back and he was horrendous.
He's done very well.
First touch of the ball was a ball up the line, it went right up the line and out the park, didn't it?
He's done very well considering he's came through the academy, and like I say, he's obviously no shite because he's come through the Celtic academy to make it Celtic. I've always said, I think I've said to you, I think it was against with Barry, JP, you've got to be exceptional really to get through to Celtic as a young boy. So he's obviously got a talent to come through under some good managers. So, but again, you've got to be realistic, and we go to games every week and you see these players, and obviously Ange sees them in training, but for what we have seen, Jullien's a far better player than Stephen Welsh. That's not saying Stephen Welsh isn't good enough to play football. He's good, for me anyway, to play every week in, week out with Celtic, it's just maybe a bit too much from the now. Maybe in 5, 6 years if he goes away, he comes back, maybe, I know that wouldn't happen, but I think Jullien, I agree with you too. He's obviously another topic when it's come up, is obviously Big Bobby Madden. Brother Madden's left us, Jason. Again, I don't want this to be a slagging match against Bobby. I just want us to have an opinion on him obviously going to England. There was a wee rumour about him quitting a few months ago, and I think it was a Cammy to put it up on Twitter. It was on a Rangers forum saying he was leaving, and then now he's left. Is it that he wants to have a new challenge, or he wants to? I've never really known a referee to leave a country and go somewhere else. I don't know if that's happened before. It might have. I don't know, Jason.
I've never heard of that before.
Is it because VAR is coming in and these mistakes are going to get noticed even more, or is it because he wants a new challenge, Jason? I'll let you have your opinion on that, mate.
I personally think just because he knows he's going to get found out when VAR comes in. Madden, he's refereeing performance, and I've said it before, we've spoken before, and that at Hampden was abysmal. It was horrendous. How John Lundstrom stayed in that park is beyond me. See if you've got VAR, he's off. So I think he's been like that. VAR's coming in, I'm going to get found out, and he's going down to League 1 and League 2. God help him, that's all I'll say.
Or is it as well, Jason, the abuse to getting on, he's like, do you know what? I'm sick of this, I'm off. I personally, from my opinion, I'm going to take it as that side. I don't think today being getting found out. I think he's maybe had enough of it up here now. He's maybe thought,
But
you know
he's
what?
a glutton, but it's a glutton for his own punishment, no, really. Sometimes I think sometimes it goes. I don't condone it, by the way. I don't think the online abuse they get is merited, but I just see it with some of the decisions they make, and I'm like, really? Do you know what I mean? Or am I just looking at that through Celtic tinted glasses? I don't know.
The thing that highlights
It's not
me
been the
is
first time, but Ryan, that referees in Scotland have had consistently biased games against us. Like the one, and I said it again, with that red card with that Douglas Ross, Simonovic.
Doogie, red card.
Red card. That'll live with me to the day I die.
I still don't think that was a red card.
Sky Sports were showing it a few weeks ago, and I watched it, and I don't think his eyes are on the ball. His eyes are on the ball.
If your eyes are on the ball, you can't do nothing. You're not thinking about your elbows, your legs, your balls, and your body.
Red card.
Sorry, lads, I disagree.
That's fair enough, mate, but I still...
Sorry, I disagree. He knew what he was doing. Jozo knew Morelos was there. He does that.
Good, fuck him!
I think in regards
Jozo knew he was there, and he knew what he was doing. Put it this way, see what was Morelos that done that to Jozo? We'd all be screaming red card, red. Wouldn't it be Dougie? It would be us.
But here's the question though, JP. Would he have been sent off for it? Because I don't know if he would have.
I think he would have, because many times now he's been sent off that fixture.
But no Ibrox, but...
No chance he's getting sent off at Ibrox for that.
Not a chance, man. He stepped in Tony Dalston, he kicked Scott Brown 4 times, and didn't get booked.
Even at that, is that what that game at Hampden? Again, the semi-final. I seen a stat. It was like Lundstrom made something like 15 tackles and didn't get booked. Mm-hmm. And then one of your players makes one tackle, the other third.
It's going to be
14 of them is on Calvin Bassey.
It's going to be a topic. It's going to be a topic, lads. I think in a few weeks about him going. I know you think JP, obviously Jason thinks it's because he's going to get found out. I think a lot of fans might be the same. I'm going to go on the fact that I think he's had enough of it up here. I don't want to sit here and slag it. He's had some horrific performances. I know we've all had horrible days at work, but that one that Jason mentioned, JP, it's still sticking in my throat, that performance. We didn't play well that day near the day, but
Ryan, see if I was consistently making mistakes like he did at my work,
I get sacked. Make it sacked.
I wouldn't have a job.
I think JP, I think you may be the same with that. I think that if we all made mistakes, we might get sacked, mate. So don't you think you obviously leaving to Pastors New down south, mate? But I think it's. I don't want to say I would say that the referee performance of him, I don't think it's going to be a loss to the game up here. But he is obviously a big character in the referees, kind of. By the sounds of it, he's obviously a good guy after the park, but obviously we can only go by what's on the park, and he's not really been kind to some games we've been in. But I don't really think of the move down south, JP.
I think some of it's laughable, to be fair. In terms of the coincidence of it being the season that Scottish football implements VAR into the Premier League of Scottish football, and he then jumped ship to somewhere else. I think one of the boys were saying the other day, it's because he's been told that he's not going to get to sit in the VAR room himself and play battleships when there's going to be a derby on the big screen. So therefore, when he's called upon as a decision, he'll just get there away anyway because
he thinks it's that. He thinks it's that the Sky Games when the wee bees last week. Thinks it was.
Aye. Because he's sitting playing duck hunt in the control room. He's sitting himself and he knows there's got to be 2 or 3 of them there. But to be fair, listen, I don't know what it is. I don't know if maybe it's a family thing or it could be anything at all. It could be. But I've never seen that before, no. In terms of a referee leaving the Scottish football top flight to go down to go down to another, to go down to England or even on to another country or whatever. To go and manage in the League 1 and League 2, or no manage, sorry, referee, officiate League 1 and League 2. It's a bit of a strange one. But I think I read something a couple of weeks ago. Is he not just chucked UEFA as well? So it means that he done one of the international games there just before the Nations League, and that was going to be his last game at that level as well.
I don't know if I read it wrong. I don't know if I thought he was assigned to that now. I don't know if I read it wrong. I don't know.
I'm sure that was his last game
Was it?
at that sort of international level. So he's chucked that as well now. So it might be an age thing as well. It might be the fact that maybe he can't keep up with handball. Maybe he's struggling. Maybe the boys are too quick. Maybe he's thought to himself, I'm not wanting to chase my head about the fucking part and see if that was offside or not. I wouldn't want to chase my head. Let's face it, man. Somebody actually says they seen him in Fraser Road West yesterday, still trying to shut people down.
He was doing the 10k marathon the day or no?
No. Apparently, he done the 10k. What was it somebody says he done? It was after the league had finished, and then he won the Grand National today, didn't he? He's a player I would hate playing against. I'd hate to be up trying to win with him because I'd just stop. I'd just go, away you go, see you later. But listen, it might be family reasons. Has it come out wise? Has it come out a reason as to why he's left, or has it just been left sort of vague? He's leaving Scotland to go to England.
I just seen on it, obviously, his social media post, his Instagram, saying that he was leaving to go down south, mate. So I don't know.
It could be family reasons. It could be that there's more Blue Oyster clubs down the road than there is up here, but you know what I mean? It could be. You just never know. It's strange. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's
obviously
maybe it's more money. Maybe it's full time. Is it full time down there?
I don't know about the League One and League Two and stuff, but I know the Premier League's full time. I don't know about the other leagues.
The Championship's full time.
The Championship's full time. Right, okay, so I don't know about League 1 and 2. If any of the listeners are listening in, they could get a page a wee message, let us know what they think, but obviously if it's League 1 or League 2, is it full time down there? Is it no? It could be that, it could be money, it could be financial reasons, mate. It could be,
I'm sure
he's probably getting their money. He's probably getting their money in League 1 and League 2.
Well, up here, I think it's about £800 to £1,000 a game, roughly. Per game.
Down there, you're looking at maybe 2 or 3 grand a game. Probably easy.
Are they taking anybody on?
Yeah, listen, I'll still get abused for fucking £2 grand a game.
You just picture the job advert and big man. Must be biased. Must not wear green trainers and green socks to training.
Another thing as well, JP, obviously, I put into it today, just a wee bit of fun the last bit of the pod. Well, I say fun, but one or two players who were rumoured to come to Celtic and it didn't happen. They were in the building, or you thought, fuck, he's going to sign, didn't happen. Put on Twitter, one that came up was Jota to Celtic. There was rumours that he was basically in Parkhead. It didn't happen.
Tommy Bunzik tried to get him on it.
He went to Newcastle. Another one, it was actually a guy, John. He's for the Endless Celts podcast. Mind the boy, Brandon Soapy. Soapy was rumoured last year before they signed some.
That the French boy with Rennes.
Before we signed Juranovic.
Right, okay.
And he went to Udinese. And John says he was excited. But it obviously no available now we got Juranovic. But he was another guy I think was rumoured. Other guys, I think Robert said there was rumoured about Giroud. Other guys put in Twitter as well. Veal McGrain. I don't know who that is, mate. I'm a bit young for that, but that's another name. John, who does a podcast, he was saying the White York. I don't know what you think, JP, but I think the one for me recently, I would say, was Ivan Toney, the one that maybe sticks in my throat.
Yeah.
I did say in the podcast that for the amount of money that they were going to. Oh, sorry, Chris as well said Del Piero. It's another one who's almost going
to. I remember that one. I know.
For me,
we know like with Trezeguet at one point. I know.
I think he was a bit getting older, but the thing for me was Tony JP was. I think at the time I did say in the podcast that the amount of money we're going to sign for the League One striker was ridiculous. Then we got a Yeti for roughly the same amount of money. because obviously Brentford, I think, was £6 million in add-ons for Tony. I did say if that was the price for Tony, I did say if that was the price, I would have maybe gotten, but for £10 million quoted for League One striker, I was like, nah, that just doesn't make sense to me. But when you look back now for what he's done for Brentford, he might have not got 20 odd goals from this year, but what he does after the ball and what he does on the ball, and I thought it would have been a good signing for us. I think he might have been a guy, I'm not saying he'd have won his 10 in a row, but he'd have definitely helped us to that goal. But I don't know any guys you thought that might have signed or that were close-signed that might have got you excited.
The two that I was really excited about that stand out for me was Ivan De La Pena. We had him in the building, he was in trial, and I don't know what happened, we just couldn't get the deal on the line. Another one we had in trial was Martin Hill was the manager. Charles Eduardo Corridon, big French midfielder. He had crazy hair, he had a big sort of afro style hair. I just wanted to sign him for that haircut, but he was actually a really, really good player as well. He kind of looked like Marouane Fellaini a wee bit in terms of his hairstyle. Really, really funky and cool. But he was a top player. Played with Paris Saint-Germain, and I seen him at Parc de Luxury. I seen him in it was a kind of friendly match against Spurs at Celtic Park, and he was outstanding for 75 minutes before he was subbed. Obviously, I was a good bit younger than what I am now, but he was different gravy, and so was Ivan De La Pena. I don't know if any of you guys, even Ryan, I don't know if do you know him? You remember him?
I know De La Pena played with Deportivo, didn't he?
He played with Deportivo. They called him a little brother, mate. He was absolutely out of this world. He played with Barcelona. He was superb. He was kind of like Lobo with a tan. That's the way I can describe him. Lobo with no hair and a tan. He was naturally gifted, the wee fella. And I was gutted when we didn't sign both of the players. Probably one more I could think he's probably big Emmanuel Petit. When Tommy Burns again was a manager, and we lost out in Petit narrowly, and he went to Arsenal. So, yeah, I remember the Ginola one as well, right? Because it looked like almost done, and then it was like the following morning or something, he'd signed for Newcastle, for Kevin Keegan's Newcastle team. And I remember being a wee boy, and my dad was gutted, man, because he was a top talent. Again, I think that was for PSG as well. I think he was coming for. We had him in the building again, he was there for talk, blah, blah, blah. And for whatever reason, it just didn't materialise. We've had a lot of bad luck for years, lads, in terms of people supposedly signing me and it not happening. I think it was another boy, I remember, Dmitry Radchenko, Russian striker. Again, I was only a young boy, but he was top draw. Remember my dad telling me about the guy, and way back in, he played with the USSR. That's how long ago it was. You know what I mean? They were called the USSR. But he was a top player, a top player. But we've had a lot of bad luck throughout the years in terms of signing players. We've always seemed to sign the wrong type of players as well. There's probably more bad than there has been good. There's been top draw players as well. But in terms of failed transfers, we've been really unlucky. And I don't know where it's been. Maybe it's been previous senior management in terms of fucking up the deal along the line and just no getting things out of the line. Hopefully, Michael Nicholson showed us up to now that he's been a bit ruthless in terms of and just going to go where he wanted. I think another big talking point we've not even mentioned about at the end of the pod tonight, and Harry Kewell's here.
I love
Harry Kewell's a great addition. That's another big sign to me that Ange hasn't gone anywhere in a hurry.
I loved what Ange said about having the link between the B team and the first team, and that's what his manager's going to do, so he can just go to he's ready to go into the first team. I love that. I love that.
For the fact that Stephen's Celtic through and through, and he's been there as a player, he was there as a boy, he's now been there as a coach, he's been there for a full season under Ange as a coach.
He was captain. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, that's right. Aye. And obviously, I think he captained his country as well. So, as I say, and obviously the addition of Harry Kewell, I think which because there's been a lot of talk this summer, lads, about Ange getting Ange tied in a long-term deal, this, that, and the next thing. And Ange just said it on an interview when he's on holiday with his family, that it's all materialistic stuff to him and he's no interested in it. He gives Celtic his word, and his word was, Celtic want me around, I'll be here. Money doesn't motivate me. I'm not into all that. I'm too old now. I've been there too long. This is the biggest challenge and biggest club Ange is ever going to likely manage. He's not ready to walk away from it right now. When Ange leaves us, lads, Ange isn't moving on to like an Arsenal or a Man City or a Man United or Ange is probably going to leave us for a lesser type of opposition. Don't forget, he's later in his ages as well. He's getting on a wee bit in age. He's in his 50s now. He's obviously that's still young, right? But it's all to some other people. But when Ange leaves us, as much as I think he's an elite coach, I think Ange is probably, I just said it earlier now, probably going to go closer back to home again and work his way. He'll work his way eventually back to down under. So he's not leaving us to go to, he's not doing a midnight money to Leicester or, unless something miraculously happens, then that's not happening. Because he just doesn't strike me as that type of man. I think he's been taken aback as well in terms of what he's seen, in terms of the way the fans have took to him, in terms of before he'd even delivered the title, when we'd won the League Cup, and he was still saying, I don't know why they're singing my name right there, they're idolising me, kind of thing. I really can't take it because I've not really done it to deserve that. Then when we were announced champions at Tannadice, I think you've seen a lot of raw emotion with Ange in terms of with the fans singing the Ange Postecoglou song. He was close to tears, lads. He was close to, there was a wee lump in his throat, you could see it. And again at Celtic Park, when he comes out to speak to the fans after the game, you could see it again. That's an emotion we hadn't seen the whole of last season to the end of the season, till all that weight came off him. It's a demanding job. It's no for everybody. A lot of managers have came and failed and not been able to do the job. It takes a big, strong mindset to be the Celtic manager, because you're no only the Celtic manager. As Tommy Byrne says, mate, when you pull on that jersey, you're the leader of men and you're the leader of people. And you need to be mentally prepared for which half a city love you, the other half want to kill you. So
you're right, mate. Aye.
That's what makes it.
You're there in a sort of, you're under a spotlight constantly. Everybody, you can't live a normal life.
No, you can't.
You've got to live a normal life out with Glasgow and the outer skirts of Glasgow. You probably go, people will notice you, but not at the same capacity as if you walk down Buchanan Street on a wet Wednesday afternoon. Because you wouldn't even get for the Donald Dewar statue or the Sven Goran Eriksson statue, some people's called it, to the boatmen at Gale Street. You wouldn't get halfway without being stopped and without signing about 400 autographs or taking 500 selfies or whatever it may be. So I think now what we're starting to see is Ange now. I think the board have maybe took a year in with Ange to say, how's this going to work, blah, blah, blah. But see now, I think the board have shown that they fully trust the man. I think the board have seen what he's delivered. And I think that's now you're seeing changes happening in terms of the boy coming in to help Anton coming in himself, Matt Lawwell getting brought up for the City group. These are all down to Ange's request. This isn't just the board all acting above. Because you'll not see a player being brought in above his head. It's not happening. He's not the type of man to stand and accept that. So I think you'll see the Harry Kewell appointment has been an Ange appointment. Mm-hmm. That's not been the board saying, oh, do you know what? He's got an Aussie accent. We'll bring him in because he talks similar as you. No. He's been brought in because he's been interviewed with Ange and Ange thinks he's capable of doing the job. And Ange probably wanted somebody there. I'm not saying he's not comfortable with John Kennedy or Gavin Strachan. He probably just wanted somebody there It just makes it feel a wee bit more
at home.
At home, aye. And obviously, let's not take away Harry Kewell himself as a player, but he probably does have elite standards. He probably does have elite, expectations of himself and of what he's going to bring to the dressing room. I don't doubt that for a minute. People are saying right away he's going to do this and he's been brought in as a first team coach. He's not been brought in to take Forrest aside and Jota aside and say, right, I'm going to make you two better. And all of a sudden you two are going to be better than Hazard and fucking Mbappe. That's not what's to happen. He's been brought in as a first team coach. He's been brought in to help coach a team. Maybe, I don't know, maybe in terms of taking a bit of the load off of Ange. Maybe in terms of he'll step forward as Ange's assistant manager. I don't know. But he's an Ange appointment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a great appointment in terms of showing us the board back him even more. And obviously our own Angie's side, and it's a good sign. Everything's sort of pointing positive for us moving ahead.
That's a massive appointment, in my opinion. He obviously trusts him. I know always good players are good coaches, but he wouldn't bring in somebody who's a dud, let's be fair, boys. And I think I put in Twitter today that I had a wee hang today. I was at a walk today and just a wee hang in my head about Harry Kewell. He's going to be here to coach and be a part of the backroom staff. But the fact that he's played at a higher level, he'll be able to give guys like Abada, Jota, even Forrest. I know he's played at a higher level. Maybe wee tricks or a wee bit of advice to take their game to the next level, and that could help us as well.
Yeah.
What do you think of that as well, Jason? Obviously, Harry Kewell, and if there's any other guys who you thought were going to sign it, didn't, but I do agree on Harry Kewell. I think it's a good signing, and again, that's maybe getting the ball rolling. Stuff that's happening behind the scenes. I know there's guys going to come in, and I think a guy come in to help Anton for the physical side of the game and mental side of the game. So it's exciting going forward.
Aye, I think in regards to the Harry Kewell appointment, it's good. It's good for him. I think JP said about him being elite. You don't play at the level that he's played at if you're not an elite guy or member of football. I think he'll do really well when he comes in. I think he's got a good football philosophy. I think he understands what Ange is trying to do. Do you know what I mean? And I think he probably has interviewed him, and I think it's good. I don't really know about players that I thought were going to sign. I remember a lot of players that were signed that I thought they're going to be good signings, and they've turned out to not be good. Like Jullien, I thought he'd have lit this league up, but
played in a young team, Jace.
Didn't do it, man.
For me, he played in a team that sort of missed out in midfield, which sort of hindered his game because he was more technical. I know people say, well, Petrov did, but Petrov had to adapt his game. It was too late down the line for Jullien to start doing that because he was at the latter end of his career.
But, Jullien, him, and then I think Roy Keane, I thought he would have come up and done better.
I think
he had that really, he bossed him at Ibrox, but
I just think he came here. I think he just wanted to come and play with Celtic. I do agree, but he probably, if he was here at his peak, he would have been fucking off. He wouldn't be here, not I mean, he was fucking unbelievable. But that game at Ibrox, man, schooled him. He was a fucking that was a Roy Keane a Man U for one game. He was unbelievable. And like Jullien, JP says, there was no doubt that guy had quality. You could see it in glimpses the guy was superb. But again, the right team for him, at that time, they were one of the guys who got the ball down and played Angie's style of playing. If Jullien would fit, by the way, that's a good thing you're mentioning him there. I've never seen his name mentioned about maybe playing Angie's team with his pomp. Fucking hell, but he'd be superb in this team. Hanging balls out wide, playing balls down to Kyogo. He'd be superb in this team.
Taking people on.
We were talking about at the start of the pod, you were mentioning about the stuff that Jota. Don't you remember his pass through to Kyogo at the very Spanos home game?
Superb,
unbelievable pass. That's why Jota needs to be signed.
I do agree that he's got a lot of fantastic qualities in his locker, and I think I do believe he's done. So I'm going to say he's going to sign You'll be part of the team next
I
year.
believe that he's going to sign, because I don't think if he wasn't going to sign, we would have known about it by now.
No.
Ryan, just before we go, I could think of another boy there in terms of it was meant to sign me, didn't he? But then came back to haunt us. Pascal Fiendino. He was in trial with us. He was training with us under Lennon, and then we played. What was that mob? We played the Swiss team. We played
Sion.
Sion. He played with him, and he tore us to fucking shreds, man.
He did. I remember.
He destroyed us single-handedly. I know they ended up getting kicked out because they had ineligible players playing with them, etc. Which I thought was a load of nonsense, I know, to be fair, because the guy had me registered in time and it was 24 hours out and it was just nonsense, complete shambles. But the Fiendino boy, he was with us, he was in our training, he was training with our team. It was like 3 weeks went by, he was in trial. Lennon was yes, and then the board just when he gave him a deal that he wanted, and we drew him in Europe, and very quickly after him no signing us, and he tore us a new one, man. He totally destroyed us single-handedly. I can't remember his nationality, but his name was Pascal Fiendino.
Do you remember that one at Jullien and all? It was in trial. Was it Capo?
Olivia Capo.
He signed with us.
He signed and only played like 2 games. He was at that.
It was phenomenal. It was really, really good.
He was in the stands with Hooper that game. Samaras scored a 2-0 game. He had 2 goals. He was in the stand that game. Hooper. He wasn't in the stands, but he was in the stand with Hooper that game. No, you're right, Jason. I think he was a bit of a Lundberg signing in the end of his career. Fucking experience, get him in.
Guys, if he's noticed a common theme there, right? See all the guys that never done too well or never really hit the hair away us.
End of their career.
No. Every one of them, the last letter of their name ended in a no.
Capo, Juninho.
Capo, Juninho, Evander Snow, Maya Colo.
God, man, Evander Snow.
Maya Colo, Sanchez
Mizuno.
Broto.
Mizuno.
It must just be a no.
Here's another one that I thought would have really played well with Celtic, but it was just a disaster. Big Magnus Hedman. He was just.
Bayern Munich ruined him, mate.
He came here. He came up here with a good reputation.
The present Rangers coach scored a double against them. And I'll never forget his first goal that night. Roy Mackay's first goal that night. It was away at the side. It was away at the touchline, sort of hang away at the side. And he crossed it air. It was about 40 yards, 50 yards maybe. And he crosses it air. It was a cross. Everybody leaves it. Big Varga just lets it go because he must have got the shout for the goalie. The ball bounces and continues to bounce by Magnus Hedman into the goal. It was a bit like, remember Chaduri's back pass against Lens with Big Foster? It was one of the mental moments you're going, what are you doing?
And then he laughed
what
about
are you doing?
Chaduri laughed after it.
At least Big Foster recovered for that.
Aye.
Magnus Hedman, didn't he?
Aye. I don't like...
We've had a few tackles, haven't we, man?
A few duds, and again, obviously, Ange just showed this year with a few belters, getting guys like Maeda and for cheap money, and it just shows you the scouting. If the scouting's right and recruitment's right, you can get these good players in. Hopefully,
that's been key, right? You've not spent a lot of money on an individual. There's not been an extravagant amount of money handed over for an individual, but you've recruited well. Definitely. The talent that he's recruited has been unbelievable. Look at Juranovic, we paid £2.5 million from. He should be wearing a mask when he bought him.
He's been in a market that nobody's knew about it, and he's exploited it, and he's done absolutely within his rights to do it with the J League and all that.
Well, we could potentially be signing my first ever Argentine player if this deal for Bernabe goes ahead. Now, I'm led to believe Bernabe's playing tonight for his parent club, Lannis. So if that deal is going to move forward and go ahead, and that boy signs with us, I have got no doubts, because Ange's a Celtic manager and what he showed us previously with recruitment, I have got no doubts that boy must have some sort of level of ability. Now, my biggest fear is that South Americans don't tend to do well in Scottish football. So that is my biggest fear. But is it a gamble I'm worth wanting to take under Ange? Yes, because of maybe I don't know, maybe it's his style of player. Maybe it's just...
I'm sure he's an Argentinian international, like a full international at 21.
I don't know.
He's played for the
youth level
first team.
He's been in the squads, I know that. I don't know if he's actually...
Wow.
But
I'm agreeing with JP.
He must have something about him, man.
He must have something about him. You see, even if he played at Argentina level, 19s, 18s, 21s, he must be good. So I'm like you. I think going forward, again, every guy he signs, you're going to give him the benefit of doubt and hopefully comes in and plays well, because...
I think that other boy will come out, the other Japanese boy that got injured, what's his name? When he got injured
Hidaguchi.
I think we'll see a lot more of him this year.
He came on the last game of the season there at Parkhead. He looks really tidy. He doesn't look... He looks as if everything's 1 and 2 touch, and he just looks that type of... He's got that sort of... What I've saw him, the wee snippets, and then obviously what I've seen on YouTube and other, like, Y Scout and all that with the boys. But for what I've seen, he just looks really tidy. He looks... Everything's so simple.
Was you know what Leeds?
Aye.
I think it took me a lot of time to adapt. He didn't do well. He went back.
And I think it was Bielsa's Leeds team as well. I don't think it was, by the way, it wasn't that long ago.
No, I think obviously we spoke to Dan, and Dan did say he was probably one that, if anybody knows who Dan is, Dan was a Japanese journalist, Japanese time we spoke to. He said Hidaguchi was probably going to maybe take a while to progress, and he might be the one that if he didn't work out, he might not work out, it'd be fine because the other two would work out. So I think that's maybe the way going forward. The transfers will be, you might get 3 or 4 belters, and the odd one it might be a bit part player. But I don't
think every single transfer is going to. You can't. I think it's impossible if you get every transfer bang on. You're going to get.
He done it last season.
Aye.
Well,
done it last year, but
out with Hidaguchi's injury, I think he done pretty well last season.
I think I'm agreeing with Jason. You're just hoping it's the same again. Every sign's a gamble, and going forward next few days and weeks, hopefully the ball gets rolling with signings, because I know some fans are getting a wee bit impatient because obviously the qualifiers and they're used to getting qualifiers, and
we're getting impatient.
I don't know one yet, but again, boys, another good content podcast. I would say a lot to talk about. Again, we could talk all day about Celtic because there's so much involved. There'll be more during the week, more podcasts, and again, there'll be something tomorrow. There'll be talking. There'll be something Tuesday. Every day with Celtic and football, there's always something. But again, lads, JP, Jason, for your Father's Day, it's been good speaking again, boys, and hell.
Hold on, just before we go, if your listeners like the content, they like what they're hearing, please hit the subscribe button on my YouTube page. We're on all platforms also, and you can get us in Spotify, the podcast app. Sure, Ryan's got us. Are we on TikTok? Are we?
TikTok and all. I'm actually meant to say this at the start, so it just shows you
that.
So we're on TikTok.
We're on TikTok as well. As JP says, me, JP, and Jace, we're on Instagram. Get the channel on YouTube. Unrestricted View podcast. Get on YouTube. We bell notifications and everything we go live on the YouTube. It'll be up. Any free content, it's all free content. Again, it's all for fans, and we like talking shite about Celtic. So if you like shite talk, then subscribe and fire away. But again, Jason, JP, hail lads, and take care.
Hail lads. It's been a pleasure as usual.
Hail lads. See you later on. Cheers.